will be the payment processing challenges in the travel industry. This is a general session to outline the payment challenges of the travel industry and the structural inheritance and challenges what come along with this industry. I have to say from the start, as this is such a big topic, we will be breaking it down in sessions. So this is just the first session of a line of webinars that we will be able to attend. So with no further ado, my name is Martins Skromans. I'm a business development manager here at BridgerPay and trying to concentrate on travel and airlines. As well with me today is my dear friend, and by coincidence as well, my CEO, the longest lasting guest of the webinars with BridgerPay, Ran Cohen. He's joining us today from Israel. So actually, he's not only a payment expert of the industry, but as well an active participant of the travel industry. So let's get into it. So payment challenges in travel industry. It's in general a big topic and it's a big industry, especially in the last 2 years when we saw a big changes of our normal lives with the COVID, and we see a very big change on online payment trends and requirements. So when all the world in e-commerce and all online payments were changing, adapting new technologies, and trying to offer better UX experience, journeys, payment options. Unfortunately, travel industry had, let's say, not such a bad position. They were almost grounded to a halt. So improvements were not really the top priority for them at that time. You can say they were struggling for their lives. But now, thank God, we see a re-emergement of the travel with the easing of the COVID restrictions, and the travel is coming back and coming back in a very big way. So let's then start by outlining who are the participants of the travel industry and what is their engagement. So if we see on the slide, first slide run. So maybe you can tell a little bit more about us, how we see and how we identify the participants of the travel industry.
Well, you started saying about the COVID and what it did to the travel industry, and it definitely made a lot of changes and brought them into a very unsecure place where tickets that usually were fulfilled suddenly are not. Payment providers suddenly began to feel the refunds coming back. And it's like a ball rolling to the entire industry, and it affects all the players. I think the first thing is to understand in the travel industry is the players that are in there, and we obviously have the airlines that are starting the whole mechanism, and the whole travel industry is based on the fact that we can fly from one place to another. And obviously we have the booking engines, the online engines, booking.com and eDreams, etc., that are creating many orders from their website, and people are finding those websites sometimes much more easier than to go to an airline and buy there a ticket, where sometimes in an airline it can be a bit less user-friendly than booking.com or a big online engine that is out there. We have the local agents that obviously are in each country and are closing the holidays and the packages that they are selling, the accommodation and the hotels that people are staying in, the entire facilities and services they are using, car rentals. where all those players are creating orders, are receiving payments. Those orders are being handled by different booking engines and fulfillment management systems. But if you look at the players and you focus on the players and what these players are going through in the last years, you see a complete change towards a client-centric approach, a user experience focused approach. Each and every one of those players doesn't want to lose a transaction to the other, the airline to the agent to the local, to the accommodation. Everyone wants to sell everything. And in the end, the car rentals will also want to sell you the plane ticket. So they all want to take a part of the cake, and you want to make sure that you keep as much in your company. And I think that's where those company, and that's what we see. I think maybe you can tell us from travel companies we speak with.
So actually, yes, speaking with travel industries, we see that the main goal that they now, in this re-emerging time of the industry, they're concentrating on driving direct traffic and as well have facilitating the orders directly with themselves through their own webpage. But as we see as well,
It's the
talking
web
with
page, it's the platform behind it that they want to control. Yeah, we'll speak about it later. But yeah, they are trying to bring obviously more into their territory.
all right, and you as a or can say long-time specialist in the payment industry, and as well an active user of travel industry, as we already talked before, what would you say are the main issues or challenges what then a user face in this kind of model that the merchants are putting forward?
Well, look, when you want to go to a client-centric approach, when you want to be able to keep up the pace with the progress and to become like any e-commerce progressed e-commerce website that is doing millions of transactions and providing to his user a perfect payment experience, a checkout with multiple payment options, methods, languages, localizations, of course, of currencies. So if you want to take an industry which is pretty much built on legacy technologies, built on technologies which are not theirs. So we're talking about players or companies that are using many third parties to do their processing, their booking, their fulfillment. So if you look at an e-commerce or a SaaS company today with sales of millions, or then you will see a completely different infrastructure when everything is in-house. When you control the entire flow, the data is yours. So, and we see also airlines that we speak with, me and you, that want to go to more independent places where they control their checkout, they control the flow, they control the third parties that they want to use and don't want to use, and with that having the power to become a real omnichannel.
All right, what I'm hearing from you that's saying that kind of the barrier to be able to line up with the standards of nowadays online payments, there is unwillingly coming out one point where they have this challenge to do that, which are the legacy systems. Could you explain why?
Well, that's how it was built. It was built in a way that it grew from there. Once you grow on those systems, then it's pretty much super hard to replace them. Don't forget, airlines are real global, like real global. They are selling to multiple countries, multiple clients in multiple places. They are working under very strict rules of processing in each country in currencies that of their own country. So they had to had something to be able to adopt to all those restrictions, and those companies or technologies definitely allow them to do so. But when you want to grow and scale, and when you want to scale in not only in what you do but also in other places, when you want to create different experience to the end user to remember that trip with you. So yeah, that means you need to own the process. I think we're speaking about it on our next slide.
Indeed. So you just brought us into the next slide. So here we want to look a general look, and this is a little bit simplified. Of course, it can a little bit diverse from this schematic, but here we see a general side or a general flow of the travel payment flows. What based on experience with the clients that we already have spoken, and how are they using it. So what do we do see here?
So you see the transaction flow pretty much in many airlines that we speak with today, where a user go to the website of the airline or the travel agency. The checkout usually does not belong to the travel agency, but is being embedded by one of the booking engines. Pretty much the same checkout, restricted by the booking engine capabilities, and again, it's a booking engine. It's not a unified payment gateway. That wasn't his intent when it was built. So all the payment providers that he had to connect behind or behind those legacy technologies are being done one by one. They need to be maintained. Where in the end, the airline, the travel agency wants multiple options, multiple payment providers. He wants different relationships between the payment providers in the transaction. He wants to control the flow. He wants to control the checkout. You want to be able to show different things for different clients in different countries. You want to be able to tokenize it for second transaction. He wants to measure cart abandonment and experiment different things, so he can change or get his conversion rates from the checkout higher. So many things they want to do, but they pretty much bound.
Yeah, because at this kind of a flow, they are dependent on the checkout that is provided to them. And even if requesting changes, we see that majority of times it's a lengthy, costly process to implement. And
Yeah.
the clients they want it now. They are seeing it otherwise. We see trends. You can buy socks even in down payments.
No, think about in that formation. You have now a demand from, I don't know, Brazil to open a new route, or you got packages in an amazing deal to Rio, and you want to push it on your website. But come on, without Boleto, without local payment methods that Brazilians know and love, it will be harder to process simple credit card with your acquirer that you're using behind. So also, it creates other risk elements that you might want to protect yourself with from chargebacks or other things that could happen. And you want to enrich yourself with third parties that knows how to defend it. So all of those are reasons for you to control your checkout. And if you're going with that, with the standard travel transaction that we're seeing here, it's going to be super hard for this booking engine to be able to stand up to the pace of the new payment methods that are keep coming in each country every day and becoming super popular so fast. And and you just need to keep up with the pace of those APIs, and they don't stop coming. We know it well in Bridger. I think we are connecting 3 to 4 different payment providers and new APIs a week, and the list never ends. Well, yes, those booking engines are not built to do that, and each one of them is hurting and cost you a lot of money as well.
Indeed, it looks like for me almost comparison of one step forward, and by the time they implement the new payment provider, there are already 5 new ones, and they're again behind. It's kind of a losing battle as the capacity and the freedom and ease of implementing new payment providers and trying to catch up with the trends as we just in the start kind of designated that we're not on the same line with the rest of the world. We need to catch up. So the way of adding, way of customization should be much freer, much easier in order for the travel industry to catch up
Yeah,
and excelling.
if it takes you 6 months to add Boleto to Brazil, you just lost the carnival season. So
Indeed.
it's something that you're gonna have to wait a year to get to this hype again, and it's a shame where all you needed is an account and Boleto and connect it somewhere.
Indeed.
So yeah.
So let's then have a look, because so far we have, I don't want to say it to paint quite a grim picture, but of course it wouldn't be a webinar or wouldn't be solved or wouldn't we offer you solutions how you can do that. So let's have a look on the next slide where we propose or we show what happens actually when the travel agent or any participant of the travel industry is applying a checkout that belongs to them. So when they do that, Ron, what can be the benefits?
Well, I think also from the airlines and travel agencies we work with and speak with, and what we see that merchants or that are owning their own checkout, and they are trying to own their own checkout, and some of them are already built some kind of a bridger to
Indeed, we see
themselves.
in a lot of levels. Some
And you
airlines are
saw it,
more
right?
advanced. Some more are
Yeah,
just starting.
and they didn't mean to build a bridger, but they want to build something that will just solve them this dependency that they
So
had.
you would say there's a war awareness in the industry
No,
of this problem, and they are
definitely,
trying now to solve that problem. But
definitely.
they
If
are
you look
again
at the big
going the way
ones,
to do it internally.
yeah, if you look at the big ones, you already see that they are there and that they start owning their own checkouts and using or consuming different APIs that enhancing their own checkout and their own checkout experience and capabilities. If they don't, that's the solution that they are looking for. A unified checkout that will be theirs, that will be encompassed with capabilities that belongs to the most advanced e-commerce or SaaS companies in the world, with capabilities of adding multiple payment methods, accepting multiple cards, retrying declines between retrying technical declines between credit card providers, which
I'd
is
like
a
to stop
big
you on
pain
this point,
today. Yeah,
retrying, because as we speak with the airlines, I get the impression when we talk with them, retry, they are kind of a little bit like, what is that? So
yeah,
what is a
because
retry?
today, the airline or the agency are working with an acquirer. It's usually a single acquirer
Yes.
or a PSP that they work with. And when the transaction of any client from any country with any credit card around the world is being done. It's this transaction is being sent to that acquirer, which in some cases and in airlines sometimes many cases are returning with a decline. These declines are not only declines that are coming due to non-sufficient funds in the account, it declines which are results from technical issues happening throughout the transaction flow, technical issues that can come from 3D sessions that the banks and the credit card net schemes are imposing on the processing accounts in some countries. Those 3D sessions are complex. In some computers they might open, in some mobile they might not. Those sessions are lost and a transaction is being declined. And we see it many times in Bridger, and we saw it many times that the transaction came with the unrelated reason, a reason that we thought that another payment provider or acquirer would be able to approve it. So we created a mechanism that is done behind the checkout of Bridger. Once a user is entering his credit card details, because the credit card details is being entered into a unified checkout, not a checkout that belongs to one acquirer or the other, that booking engine or the other, but a unified checkout, which behind that checkout, the merchant, the airline, the travel agent is connecting two or three payment providers and acquirers. When a transaction is coming in, and we receive a decline, which is not because of insufficient fund, but due to those technical issues, we are in the session seamlessly in milliseconds, pass this decline to a second acquirer and ask him to approve it. And we see in Bridger amazing results of the amount of declines that we are able to save. Around 9-10% of the declines that are coming in from airlines are being saved and rescued and become approved transaction that the airline is collecting from their payment provider. That is a transaction that they would just lose to another booking engine or a travel agent. Same as the travel agent, right? Would lose it to another.
Exactly. So I have had that experience myself. Very excited to book my new travel, vacation, so on. And of course, I know save the money to do that. And I'm very excited, like a little boy, to go book my tickets and already thinking how I'm going to be in the mountains. And then when I just went through the process, which as well is quite long and tedious to book a ticket, a lot of information is needed. And only in the end, when it's time to take my money, no. My first reaction is, well, thank you. They don't want to take my money. I'm off to somewhere else. And that normally is an aggregator for which the airlines will get a ticket, but they have to pay the commission.
Yeah, that's a transaction that just got lost, and you probably not only went to another place, but also had you will have some bad feedback, and for the next time you want to book that plane, you might remember that. So yeah, the payment experience on a decline, of course, from a technical decline, is super frustrating. You don't want to get to those positions. You don't want to lose any transaction and any dollar that could be processed with your or in your website. And the same, you don't want to lose it for lacking the adaptation of payment method that you want to show. The different users in different countries, the ability to add different alternative payment methods, open banking solution, buy now, pay laters, local methods, and to be able to add them fast, to add them in days. This will give you the edge. It's like, you're not only finding the method that people are, that is popular for them to use, and you can also connect it to campaigns that you do. it allows you to be first, to react first to something that is happening in the market, be the first airline, the first travel agency that allows to pay in this payment method. It's a client attracting feature that you
It gives you
can add, yeah, to your stack. I don't
how do
think
you
we have asked the people if they have any questions,
the questions
so
are
far.
always, dear
Yeah,
participants
guys.
of the webinar, please feel free to ask the questions. So I'm more than happy to see them and assist and reply to them. While they're doing that, Ron, I want to concentrate. You just had the whole topic on adding new payment methods. So in other verticals where we work, it's almost a must now. It's a must to have credit card. It's a must to have alternative payment methods. It's a big trend to have buy now, pay later nowadays.
Yeah.
And industry as travel, where let's be honest, the average transaction is quite sufficient comparably to, I don't know, e-commerce. The payment options are quite limited. And how would you say this affects an airline and the revenue when they can add and do add additional payment methods, like even buy now, pay later, as we see a big demand from the customers?
Okay, look, you can look at it from different directions. First of all, we know that there is the legacy problem and the length that it takes to connect a new payment provider or method into to an airline, to connect it to the booking engine and system and the ticketing and the fulfillment and the refunds and the reconciliation and settlement. So that's a big thing. Also, I'm not talking about opening a processing account. So that's not just an easy thing for an airline to do. If you're talking about e-commerce or SaaS, they are much less dependent on whether technology. It's much faster for them to get to decisions of opening new payment methods, and that is what allowing them to be always first and to succeed, of course, in online selling. But when you go to the travel, you definitely see that they are going there and they're pushing there and they want it. You can see in the US that buy now, pay laters are coming into the travel industry, and then you
And we
see
can see
different
as well,
airlines
right?
we speak with that are interested of adding multiple payment method. Etihad POC that we have done, that we have added 6 different payment method, I think. So
Yes, indeed.
yeah, it's definitely there.
But here still, I think we see a little bit of a lagging or losing battle, because as well, due to the legacy systems, we have seen in half a year of a big trend as well to adding buy now, pay laters. But in the last half a year, there are still more talks and processes to adding one payment buy now, pay later option. There are regions where there's 7 or 8 of them. So in these kind of time frames, by the time they're gonna add the 6 that we have today in that region,
No, it will.
there
Yeah,
will be 25. Who knows
yeah,
how?
yeah. Yeah, because it's going. Also, you can see that airlines we work with and see the easiness of adding payment provider. How suddenly the pipeline become much more than what we've anticipated in the beginning, and that's because it's coming from the actual need of being client centric and adding to the clients more payment providers and methods that he wants to pay with, and in the end generate more revenues. Um, let's go to the next slide and speak about, or I think we concentrated all the everything the travel players wants to gain.
Indeed. Indeed, let's switch then to the next side,
Yes,
and
the end
this we
goal.
can describe the end goal, where BridgerPay is trying to provide a one robust solution that can actually tick all the goals that are set out by the travel industry for 2022, and actually a little bit of a more, as we see that not all travel industries understand or comprehend that there's a possibility how easy you can achieve. So they are more used to kind of work by the time frames that they're used that they have the experience with. All right, one payment method. Well, that's our goal for 2022. But
Yeah, but
actually,
look,
here
I
is a
don't think
different.
it's not just Bridger. I think it's the end goal of all the airlines and travel agents, agencies, and that we speak with. They have the same goals, and they want to reach them in the way that fits their infrastructure without making earthquakes in it. And yeah, because in the end they have an operation, and it's a big operation, and it's an operation with a lot of players inside and a lot of third parties involved, and it's not an easy operation to make changes, but their goals, and they are working towards the same goals of optimizing the conversion rates of their checkouts and their sales, decreasing abandonment rates. Some of them are more advanced in figuring them out than others, and measuring them, and working on optimizing that one. The increase of approval ratio, where we obviously see that we are talking still about airlines and travel agencies that are doing transaction and having transaction from around the world, with clients with multiple cards in multiple countries, and that definitely get you to lower approval ratios than what you expected. And you want to increase this approval ratio, especially in countries that multiple clients are coming from, and you have a lower approval ratio than others. And yeah, and in the end, to optimize the entire processing revenues, everything that is what you consider as revenues. That's what you want to optimize, and there are so many ways to do it. Beside obviously making different campaigns and different marketing or other structure things that you can do, but we're talking about the payment optimization, and what we see that their goal is, and what we want them, and we are trying to get them to, is to build a really unified omni-channel payment software and omni-channel payment flow. So, and we're going to speak about it, I think, in the next slide, but
Indeed.
that's what we want to create.
One question here. While we're talking with a lot of participants of traveling industry, sorry, we see when we present this solution and say, guys, it's possible. It's actually possible quite easy. And you don't need to go through that pain that you're used to. There is quite a big inherited in unbelief and quite inherited cautions. They want it, but they don't really know how to do it. So, how easy it is to implement this kind of solution what Bridger provides?
Um, just before we go there, Rich is saying here something. Too many merchants don't realize a false decline doesn't just impact you once. You may have lost the lifetime value of the customer, which could be a lot of money. That's
Richard, you're preaching to the converted. This is what we try to
that's all
explain.
right. Yeah, no, I don't think we are trying to explain that so much. I think that we pretty much facing people that understand it. They might be frustrated by their, but they with the fact that they are not able to impact it or change it so easily in their business. But yes, this is becoming a common understanding. You are losing a transaction, you are losing the customer, and much more than that. So I think this is an important point to emphasize. Yeah.
All right. So, Ron, let them show what do we have in store for 2022 when it comes to payment channels, or maybe we can say even a master omni-channel for travel industry.
Yeah. Well, we thought about all these challenges, and today we with the airlines and agencies that we work with and we provide our services to, and they consume our checkouts, and they use our admin to connect all their different payment providers to set up their retry and logics and payment logics. The third parties they want to connect as well on their workflow. So we are doing that, and we are helping them today with unifying the checkout and controlling the transaction flow like we did before. But what we wanted to get to is to a place where we really make the user experience here completely unified. It's not enough to get a processing account from a payment provider or acquirer to be able to connect it to your website, to connect it to your mobile application, to connect it to your POSs on the counters, and process from one omnichannel account and then see all. It's not enough, because in the end it's three different transactions by the same Martins, right, that are now traveling to the mountains, and you're now buying a yeah. So it's the same Martins that is traveling, and the same Martins is doing the same three different transactions in his travel journey. So you booked a flight in $950, and you booked it through the checkout online.
Yeah, directly with the web page.
Right.
Oh,
but what we did is created to the airline or to the agencies, we've created a profile for Martin. And then Martins is now profiled as Martins that bought a ticket from Paris to New York, and in $950 with a tokenized credit card that we have tokenized for you, for the airline to use again. So when you Martins will come in and log into the mobile application of the airline, you will reach the checkout because you wanted to buy and to add luggage to your flight.
It's at that point when I'm preparing, I'm packing my bag, and I see like, no,
Exactly.
this is not gonna fit. I need new one. I
Exactly.
need additional things. What do I do?
And I wouldn't want to ask you to give me your credit card again. I already know you. I already know it's you. I already know that you're buying, that you bought a ticket, and I already know that that's your credit card and it's tokenized. And all I need is to ask you, would you like to pay the $50 with this tokenized credit card? If your processing account requires the CVV, the code, then I would ask you only the CVV, but I would never ask you the credit card again. And it would be just a click. So the second transaction on the mobile of the $50 luggage would be with a simple click without requesting your credit card again. Now you went to the counter.
So I just added the luggage additional service like this. Just logged in. That application remembered me.
I don't need your credit card.
Wow.
And that's first of all to let you know, okay, Martins, we know you. You are flying with us. You bought with us the flight, and we're allowing you to continue to buy with us more and more. It's the same as
Wouldn't you say that this create a brand can, let's say, sort of
It's
attachment?
a community. Of course it's you're creating this community that is coming into your website, your application, into different ecosystems that you are in. If it's on the counter, and they are able to buy a service that you're providing them, when they don't have to go through the buying process again. Let's take the credit card out of the pocket again and
Oh,
open the bag and take it out. We want them to know that they are a part of a process, and they can easily pay just in a click of a button, if it's from the application of the airline or if it's on the counter when they are in. And when they reach the counter, for example, and that's the end of your flow here, you reach the counter and now you want to, let's say, upgrade your ticket, right? So you already know.
I want to stop you there. What would be the normal process now? As you travel a lot,
Wow.
if you
So
don't mind.
I want to, yeah, of course, I'm always asking. I say, do you have upgrades to first or to business? And they're telling me, yes, it's
I
a
will go.
199. Please go to the other counter. Now, listen, I just waited 20 minutes in that line, right? Now I
Yes.
go to the other counter and I'm trying to buy, right? Well, I need to
Take my
give my
money.
credit card. Of course, I need to give my credit card and this and that. And then she's telling me, right, but I don't have a window. I have only an aisle business. Now, for an aisle business, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours. Come on, I'm not that spoiled. I can go back. Now I need to go back, wait 20 minutes and pay again and book again my ticket. No, it's
So
a disaster.
it's actually it's a
So
funny thing how a premium product sale, the process,
it's
it's
not so premium.
pain. It's nothing to do with even premium. You
It's
can
not so
buy a
premium.
soda in a more premium way,
Yeah.
but
What
here
we
we're trying
want
to build business.
Yeah, what we
Mm.
want to say to the airlines here is to be able to identify their users, their passengers, and they are doing it on the counter. And once they identify them, they can immediately screen them a QR code for any service that they buy on the counter. All the person needs to do is pick up his phone, which is already 99% in his right hand or left hand or right pocket or
With
left
all the
pocket,
COVID restrictions now.
um, and simply scan, pay on a button, and finish the process um, seamlessly, completely. And this is where we are taking airlines today. A full omni channel process, A to Z, where users are only once taking off their credit card, and the rest is being done in much more user-friendly methods.
So what you just described is an amazing thing. But the first thing, standing as a advocate, where all of these transactions from so different places will go to, and how me and airline will manage them.
Yeah. So look. First of all, you have those omni-channel processing providers, and they will provide you the processing account that
Mm.
will allow you to see all of them in one place. But again, you will work with a single one. If you don't want to lose transaction, you will definitely need to connect the second and third and create fallbacks and have maximum amount of transaction or the optimum amount of transaction processed and not lose a single one. And for that, you would need a gate, some kind of a unified gate that will allow you to do that.
So what you're saying, even using these three drastically different ways of payment, they will be still unified and coming into one system, Bridger system, where the airlines will have ease of overview, understanding from where each and every transactions came, and which part of my journey and provide it and overview it in one place.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, the idea is to create the flexibility to take the client-centric approach to a different level, not to be bound by the rules and obligation and complexities that they work with today, um, and to create a real different payment flow for them. I think it will also create a real difference in their sales, and the buzz that it will create around the one that will adopt the flow first. But I think in a few years we will see many working in that flow. I want to ask the client, the people here in the audience, if you have any questions regarding what we are trying to achieve here, and we'll be happy to answer it. And yeah.
While our audience is hopefully presenting the questions, I would like to ask, so, but from all of these channels and all of these transactions coming in, I will still, as a merchant, enjoy the previous benefits that we told, the retry feature, the possibility to add for each and every country customized payment options. So it's not just staying on the web, but these kind of options will be as well across all of these free channels.
Yeah, of course. If you pay with Google Pay on the first transaction, obviously you will pay on mobile and with the QR. Same with any other payment method. Again, that will allow us to create this seamless approach. Not all local methods will allow it. It will take time for them to get to the technical level that will transparent those interfaces. But yes, we can definitely reach a
You
high
just touched on
scale
a very,
today.
very interesting topic that each, well, not almost each, but a majority of payment providers are used to providing data in a different way. How does Bridger Pay overcome this issue?
Well, the aggregating data and unifying it from all the methods and payment providers is the very basics of what we are solving and what we are doing there. But I think it's not only that. I think the capabilities that you have inside and that you want to have inside your data is ones that will allow you to easily slice and dice your data across providers, countries, across methods, across routes that you open or packages that you are selling, to identify trends, to be able to reach a faster or a better decision-making process. And that's a must when you are working with global clients. I see we don't have questions here. Guys, if you have questions, we'll be happy to answer. And if not, I think we are running out of time as well.
Indeed. But the last question I want to ask you, so with all these opportunities of A/B testing and improving your payment routes, so this is a great way how even one of these free channels to increase the approval rates constantly, be on top, experiment, which I think is one of the biggest loss in this previous setup that we see with these legacy systems. As they don't control the checkouts, they don't experiment. That one payment provider, it works at some level, and fine. Can through BridgerPay, we constantly monitor, check, and improve, compare in real time this data that's coming in from each and every channel?
Yeah, look, in the current structure that they work, super hard, obviously. What they do is usually compare it one to the other. So they opened in one region one payment provider, and then they opened in another region another payment provider. But is it an A/B test? A/B test is when you just change one thing. To change a full region it comes with different complexities. So I don't think that's a real A/B testing, and I think an A/B testing can definitely needs to be one that you compare apples to apples, and you place and you have like either a fallback or either a play or either the option to take up and down, enable and disable the providers in the same region. And when you do that, again, you are in a risk. We spoke about it in other events. This A/B testing without a risk can be done only on checkouts or gates that are allowing you, or through gates that are allowing you to do it. If you have a gate and you build this capabilities already, then yes, this will allow you to create the basic A/B testing of region. When you want to go and scale it up and reach, and get to the point of the country and the credit card type, then you would need to use more advanced software. Rich is asking us a question, and I think we'll finish here. Do you find any specific regions have more false decline or acquirer issues? Well, of course. I think false decline, acquirer issues, or technical declines are mostly or most common in countries which are not the main countries around the world. So we are not talking about if it's US or if it's inside Europe. So you have acquirers that can provide you a high approval ratio. We will speak about those later. If you want to start specifically on the highest false decline regions, then you can definitely say that Southeast Asia is one of them, with a lot of false decline, because banks around the world are not used to get money out of those countries, same as Africa. So African countries are suffering from the same problem. India, you can say the same on Latin America in some countries. So yeah, in those places we see high ratios. Also Arabic countries.
So you say emerging countries.
Yeah, you can definitely say emerging countries. That's with the highest declines, and those are the places when you are retrying and you have fallbacks, you see a very big and significant change when you start fallbacking it into a local payment method or provider. But when you're talking about the big regions like the US and in Europe, where a lot of the transactions are coming from, right? And you have very strong acquirers there. But let's say you save 1%.
But with the volume in these countries as well,
that's exactly. So it becomes a lot of money. So even if you were able to,
that they invest millions of adding a small antenna or different shape of antenna on an airplane, that they can save maybe 0.1% on gas in a year, or petrol, sorry, and then this can bring you a couple of percents of improvement to their revenue without almost no investment.
Yeah, so you have here, you have those regions that small impact is actually a huge one, create a big one, and you have the emerging markets that you are suffering from a higher false decline rate, and your ability to save them is there, and it exists. And obviously, once you do, I'm sure more volumes would also be able to come from there as well. So Yeah. So, guys, if you don't have any more questions,
I think
we
yes.
will
Well,
say
let's wrap up this webinar, and we're really happy and grateful for each and every one of you who joined and spent this hour with us. Hopefully, we managed to present alternative options and solutions for the challenges of the travel payment industry. And in the next webinar, we're gonna start isolating each and every challenge and digging more deeper into it with more technical solutions for each of them.
okay. Thank you, Martins.
Guy, thank you, Ron. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.
Wish you a
Thank you,
lovely,
everyone.
lovely evening. Talk to you soon. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye bye.